Hello, hello, everyone. This is Angel Arts, and welcome to another episode of Let's Interview the Finalists of the Dragon Age Season 3 campaign. We have
Hooray!
here Sam and Sam.
Ah!
No.
Uh,
Sam had asked for anyone really to interview him because he likes a challenge. And so, of course, since I got to pick, I'm like, I'm going to pair Sam with Sam. And before this, I was like, all right, we need to figure out how to differentiate you two. So one of you is going to have to be called Samantha. Male Sam, would you like to be Samantha today?
well, I mean, just for you, Hark.
I appreciate that. But we'll actually have Samantha be female Sam, because I think that's in your birth certificate. Maybe, I don't know. All right, so I think that's cool. We'll do it that way. So yeah, I will get out of the way and let Samantha run the show.
Oh, that's me, guys. Okay. Hi, everyone. Hello. Okay. Sam, great name. So first question, why do you think you deserve to be on the DA Season 3 roster?
Well, you see, I interviewed for the campaign, and I almost got in, but didn't quite, so I'm ready for round two. I've liked the Dragon Age games. I haven't played through all of them. I've played through one, and as always, I love fantasy settings, and, anything with dragons, best time. Yeah, and I am intrigued by, like the world and the lore building of Dragon Age and the Dark Spawn, and, everything's terrible, but not quite, but everything is real terrible, so,
Accurate.
yeah. So I think it'd be a great time and a good way to flex my RPG muscles.
So on that note, and I know you said on your previous interviews you have experience with role playing, and obviously you've done some of Harg's campaigns. What scares you most about role playing?
Oh man, I guess not having the dice go in your way, and then slowly watch your plan that you've carefully constructed just fall apart before your eyes. But that's half the fun with role playing. Rolling with the punches and finding out what actually happens.
So it's more of like afraid of the chances. Is there anything that scares you about interacting with others because you can't control their reactions to your thoughts?
Well, that's one of the good parts and bad parts about tabletop RPGs is you get a lot of fun and excitement from the different interactions with all the characters, and it can lead to maybe some friction between some characters because you want to take your character one way and then someone else doesn't believe that maybe your character would go in that way. But it's all about having fun and enjoying who you play.
Yeah. So if you had to give up your spot to one of the other auditioners, who would you give it up to and why?
Oh boy, there are so many great auditions out there, and gosh, I believe everyone has their own distinct take on things. I did really like I think it was JoJo's, or where he was the traveling theater performist. And I think
the circus, yeah.
The circus, yeah.
yeah. I think that'd be really great for world building and a good way to sort of lead to different areas and enjoy different sceneries. And, because he's traveling, he must know about different places and want to go to different locations. And it'd be great for, subterfuge, because a lot of performers can, lead to more interactions where you run into a castle keep and get information from someone.
Are you talking about lying, Sam? Are you talking about lying?
I would never.
I'm going to tell you what my personal biggest reservation I have for you as a player. Last year, when you auditioned for me, I loved you as a player. I loved your character, Oliver. He was super fun, very upbeat. I knew that you would be able to tackle like scenes that were meant to make people happy and make people smile and get a laugh out of it. The biggest thing that held you back, though, this is probably the one thing that kept you from being in the main campaign, is that a lot of my campaigns, yes, has a good mix of happy and very, light-hearted things, but they can also be really deep and emotional. And if you remember, one of the last things I asked you to do, which I didn't ask anyone else, was I asked you to tell me a little bit about something that would make your character really vulnerable. Because you had a really great high note. You did that high note as that character really well, but I didn't see the range. Like, I wanted to see how you would do with an emotional scene. I wanted to see a scene where you really were very vulnerable. I wanted to find more layers of Oliver, a better range of you as a player, and I didn't get that from you. Like, that was probably my biggest disappointment. I was like, I love Sam so much, but he just didn't show me his range. He just showed me that he's great at doing, happy stuff, but I wanted to see more emotional stuff from you. So, given that is my biggest reservation, what is your response?
Thank you for that feedback. That is definitely, I also felt that a little bit, as Oliver, he had a great idea behind him, but I just hadn't fleshed him out in that aspect as much. And as a player myself, that is one of my greater weaknesses is, emotional depth. So I've been trying to work on that a little bit more, and I've been playing a campaign with Adam, and or Cool Cucumber, for those of you who know him online, and he's been trying to help me a little bit with that, with the character there, and I was thinking about that for when the character I wrote for this one, because I anticipate, at least for this character, Leon will have to confront some really dark stuff, especially with the death of his parents and some other things. So I'm hoping to improve on that front. But yes, you are right. I do struggle a little bit with the deep lows.
Okay, so Leon, you find yourself in between the borders of Navarra and Orlais. It's nighttime, and you're laying in your bedroll, and you're looking up at the beautiful night sky. Your belly is full, your body is warm, and your eyes are starting to feel heavy. And as they close, they sort of open suddenly when you hear this hoot from a distance. But as you open your eyes, you're no longer laying down. You're standing up. The stars in the skies have been replaced with floating islands and waterfalls of black, but the water's moving in the wrong direction. There's a green sky that stretches across the horizon line that doesn't seem to exist anymore. The landmarks are twisted and sculptures, and in the distance there's this black castle. You know you are in the Fade. However, the only thing strange in this strange place is that you're also bathed in this white moonlight. It has a feeling to it, calm, serene. And as you look up, expecting to see the moon, you instead see a woman, upside down, layered in many thick furs. She has a long braid that cascades down her back. She has this thin golden circlet on her crown that looks like ivy. And she's sort of, with a very tentative wave, the light coming from a dazzling diamond on her bracer. And she looks at you, and she says, "Well, you're not a demon, and you're not a spirit, so you must be a mage, eh?"
Yes, I seem to have stumbled in upon your domain.
No, my domain. This is not my place. Hold on, I hate talking like this. And she sort of will kneel down and then stretch forward really fast. And then she slowly falls your direction and does this little bit of a somersault. It's like a slow motion fall as she does a really cool 3-point landing. But she will rise and meet your gaze. Her hands are twisting as she's looking around, sort of very fearful of where she is.
That was quite the neat trick you pulled there.
They say I've been here before. I don't like it here in the Fade. I hate coming here.
Oh dear, what's around here? What should I be afraid of?
Well, there's plenty. Honestly, everything is wrong. The sky is not the sky. The ground is not the ground. There's no gravity. There's no wind.
All right.
Everything feels wrong.
It's fine. We're here now. Maybe we should find a place out.
If only it were that easy. You don't know anything about the Fade? You're a mage, right? I mean, you
Chantry?
know.
I know what they teach us in the Chantry. It's bad, and you should never go there. And yet, here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I can't seem to get my head around this place, you know. I've I've been pulled here a couple times. Sometimes, you know, a few minutes out there seem like days in here. I just
We had best start moving then if you're so uncomfortable. What led you out last time, and what led you here this time?
well, I sort of get pulled. You know, out there in the world, I'm sort of in a borderline between where the Bracers' territories are. Violetta always explains it like the veil is thin in those areas. I don't really understand it. It's more like the borders are like a stone wall, and the magic is sort of pushing against that wall, like two oceans, and sometimes that wall falls apart, and I get swept up in it. It's not my fault. It's her fault, really. And, you know, she'll pull away the thick furs, and it's not actually thick furs, it's just a very thin layer, but she has a very swollen belly.
Oh, I see. It's best not to keep a baby here too long. And may I ask about your... he gestures to the jewel that's emanating light.
The bracer. I imagine it just amplifies that effect. It's the only thing that keeps them at bay sometimes, you know, the demons.
Oh, I better stick close to you then.
Yeah. I hate the fact that this place, I've seen things, you know, here, especially when I'm out into winter. You see people making deals all the time, but you see people get caught in here too that don't belong. Children, even.
Oh, it's unfortunate. And deals? What sort of deals?
Deals with demons.
Ooh, we'd best stick away from those.
Aye. We best. And then she sort of pauses for a moment, and her eyes sort of go wide with fear as she looks behind you, past you. As this shadow sort of envelops, even the bracer light is dampened and dimmed as this creature approaches you. Oh no, it's here, it's found me again.
Leon's going to cross in front and try to hide her.
As you turn, you see this monstrous 7-foot creature. It's got thin skin dressed upon bone and carapace, and there's sort of like these spider-like extensions on its head as it reaches and grabs both of you before you have any time to react, or this woman. And your vision goes dark as that darkness envelops you. Leon, the first sort of sense is the taste of blood and the smell of it around you. There's this iron taste in the back of your throat as your eyes shoot open. And again, you're standing. This time you do see a starry sky, but it's blocked with smoke from fire. You're on a battlefield, and then the roar of a battle emerges from around you. You hear scream of men and monsters. You're in the middle of a battle with Darkspawn. Men and women with painted bodies and bloodied weapons are fighting Darkspawn. You see very far away the woman that you had been talking to before. She's standing over a scene. Another woman with dark hair and this beautiful staff. As she's fighting, a younger version of her seems to be shouting with this woman. And behind the woman that you had met, as she clutches her belly, there is that demon, and it looks like it's pulling something from her, like an essence.
Leon's going to try his best to try to get to her and run.
You start running, but something grabs you by your ankle, and you look down, and there is a man, similarly painted body, but he has very pale skin. There's dark veins that are cascading throughout his body. He long should have bled out, but it looks like the taint is the only thing keeping him alive. And he reaches out towards you, and he's trying to utter something. There's pain and sorrow in his face. "Kill me," he says.
Leon, faced with this moral dilemma of trying to save the woman and child, or the person who's trying to die, quickly tries to lash his ankle out so that he can be free, so that he can save them, desperately trying to escape.
Sure. The man, you pull yourself free, and the man utters again, "Please don't leave me here. Please kill me, please."
I'm so sorry. I have to save someone. Please forgive me. And he's going to just take off.
Sure. You're taking off through your battlefield. You're trying to dodge and weave in between, trying to get closer to the woman that you had met before. But something stops you as you hear from behind you a familiar voice that you never thought you would hear again. How could you, Leon? It's your father's voice.
I can't. I must. I have to. He's desperately still trying to save her, but the sound of his father's voice causes him to pause. But the moral dilemma inside of him is urging him forward, so he starts stumbling a little bit.
Sure. It almost sounds like your father's just constantly with you, right behind you, and you keep hearing, "Leon, how could you?" Do you turn and look? Do you keep going?
He glances behind him, as it is his father, and he must know why. Why did he abandon him?
You turn and look, and as you do, the whole scenery around you shifts. You're no longer in a battlefield. You smell lilies. You're in the forest, a forest that you remember, and as your vision shifts, your father in front of you. Behind him, the house that you grew up in. You're sort of momentarily confused as there's no battle anymore, just your father.
He's going to look around for the woman and child.
They're no longer there. It's just your father in front of you, and again he says, "How could you, Leon?"
Leon looks at himself. Is he a child or still in his same body?
Still you?
Oh. He's going to be very confused. How could I what?
Your father looks like he's about to say something when something erupts from his chest, a silver blade. Your father looks down, blood sort of soaking through his clothes, and he looks at you again. "How could you, Leon?"
He's going to stumble back as he remembers. It's very similar to how he died. He's going to stumble back and say, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." And he's going to fall over as he trips.
He falls over, scooting backwards. The blade is pulled out of your father. And then you see the shine as it's whipped around and cut your father's head off his shoulders.
Leon,
the head rolls. His body falls to his knees. Behind him, you see the armor of the Templar, full regalia, helm. You don't see anything. No eyes.
He's going to keep scooting backwards and say, "I'm sorry. I didn't do anything. Please, no."
From behind it, you see, in just a few feet away, you didn't notice before because your father was blocking it, but you see your mother on her knees, crying, screaming out to what she just saw, and a Templar raising his sword behind her. He's whispering something, almost like a prayer, but that whisper is like right in your ear. And you hear him say, "Maker, give us strength. Now is the hour of our victory as we kill the blood mages."
Leon's trying to get up, but half of his body is urging him to flee, making him want to flee, but the other half is wanting to save his mother, the one who's been there and who's healed almost every wound he's ever had.
As the Templar rises, it almost seems to move in slow motion, every heartbeat like a minute, and you hear another voice echo from next to you. "You stand there, afraid. What will Leon do? How could he do nothing?"
I can't. He's desperately trying to get up, but his legs, they won't move. They're stiff. It's as if it's urging him to run, to not be here anymore.
You feel these long claws cascade over your shoulders and down your chest. "Your fear is delectable."
Leon's gonna just struggle, and he's stiff and he can't move properly, and he's incredibly afraid because someone's right behind him, and he looks.
You look and you see this creature again. And he goes to one side. Is there anger towards the blood mages? Anger towards the Templars?
How could they do this? They were nothing. We were just living in the woods. We were happy. We didn't do anything. There's nothing here.
Is that right? And yet there is doubt in your head.
But how could they? All that was left to me is the book, and it doesn't say anything. Please, there's nothing in there.
You're lying. You know the truth. And as you look down, your hands are covered in blood, but the blood seems to be boiling, reacting to your fear, almost empowering, like your magic trying to save you, an instinct inside of you.
He's going to see that it is doing something, and it's the only thing that will save him from the demon right now. And as much as he despises it, as much as it feels wrong and it is awful, he's going to try to use it.
You try and use it against the demon, and the demon hisses in pain a little bit, but it seems to grip in its claws into your body even more, like father, like mother, like son.
No, it's not me. One hand's going to grab the other hand, which is using the blood magic, but the grip loosens and he feels a thrill of enjoyment. But he hates everything about it, but he can't. It's the only thing he's got to hold on to. He dives deeper.
The scene in front of you is still ongoing, and it looks like the Templar is about to bring the sword down. The demon, hissing in pain still, will grip you tighter. Can you save them, the Templars? Or will you save your blood magic mother?
He's just going to release it, hoping to save his mother, but the sword is so close. Maybe.
So you release the magic this time and aim it at the Templars?
Yes.
You do so, and the blood magic cascades in through their armor, and it starts to seep and bleed through the helms. You hear it pains as your mother looks at you, proud. And you fall to your knees, looking down at the bloodied hands. Your eyes close, and then you hear off again, Leon, how could you?
I'm sorry. He fades, I'm guessing.
No, his vision is blurred, but as he looks, the scene almost seems to reset, and his father looks at him, disappointed, ashamed, as the sword again pulses through his chest. Leon, how could you?
I'm sorry. He's going to try to reach out this time, a little bit more confident now that he knows he's got something.
What does he do? Does he reach out?
He's going to reach for the blood that is now freshly spilt, trying to will it to heal him back.
You attempt to heal your father. The sword pulls through his chest, and you try to heal the wounds. The Templar seeing you. Blood mages, all of you. There's a moment here. You're using your blood magic. The Templars look like they're about to react again against you this time. You hear the delectable sounds of the demon sort of enjoying the fear that is feeding your magic. And a white light pulses through the area. The Templars, your father, your mother, they fade like shadows cast against light and disappear. The demon repulses and screams back.
Leon's going to reach towards his parents as they fade and fall to his knees, crying, Why did you leave me?
The woman who you met before will grab your shoulder. It's time to go. That won't work again.
But they were right there. Just a little bit more.
It's not real. You need to come with me now. And she goes in front of you and holds your face. You need to go with me now.
He's going to look at her and look at her stomach and be like, yes, we need to save everyone.
She uses her bracer, but in this time she's using it with the belly, almost as if the bracer is reacting to the child and enhancing the bracer's magic as she pulses with light again, and you both sort of land in the same area that you did before, same position. You both are on your knees. Are you okay?
I don't think so, but do you have any wounds? I'm fairly good at healing magic.
She sort of looks at you and then steps back, still holding her belly. I saw what you did.
That wasn't me. That wasn't me. No. I'm a healer. I only heal people. Please.
But you used blood magic.
No, that wasn't me. That was I only heal people.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. He's gonna sort of know that it's not entirely true, but fall to his knees, and he's reaching for his card, his report card, more or less, that shows that yes, he's a healer, he's a medic. See, I'm recognized by the chant. I heal people.
She'll sort of rise and just sort of step away. It's not really a look of like anger, or it's more just like caution as she steps back. You know, it's interesting. You never know what you're going to do until you're put in that situation, until fear really grips you. Do you run? Do you cut? Do you hide? Do you fight? I suppose now you know.
He's sort of taken aback because the words ring true, but yet that isn't him. At least that's what he thought.
Time for you to go. I hope we never meet again. She'll... Oh, go ahead.
I hope you do well and you never find yourself in a situation like this.
And then she'll clutch her belly and pulse out the light again, pushing you back to where you were, and your eyes jostle awake. You smell the fire that you left going. You smell the grass before, the same starry sky above you, crickets in the distance. You're alone. Back where you fell asleep.
Hi there, I'm Leon. I'm here to explore the world. I'm fairly new and I just graduated from the Chantry, and I'm hoping to stretch my magical muscle out there. I'm really good at healing, and my parents left me a book that I'm really excited to go explore. They left me some places that they'd like me to go explore, and some interesting tidbits. I'm really hoping I can join your adventurers group, as I'm fairly new to the whole thing, but please consider me in your next adventuring, because I'm a great healer.